The box office is suffering with the latest Indiana Jones installment, Dial of Destiny, missing expectations for its weekend. I think it was like like this, and it was oh, I didn't see it. Join us now to discuss all that and more is Matt Belloni, a Puck founding partner. Matt, where are we standing right now? Are we going to pay for content, or did someone finally realize, wow, this can get expensive with very little return, and we're actually trying to make money?
Well, I think Andy Jassy is probably about to have that conversation with his studio in Los Angeles, because he has, according to Bloomberg, he's ordered not an audit per se, but he wants to see the budgets of some of these shows that they're making. And these are hundreds of millions of dollar investments that, for the most part, have not turned into massive hits. And, Amazon is in the content business for different reasons than other people are in the content business. They want to increase activity on Prime, and we'll see if that's actually what this content is doing. But it's a sign that this spending on Hollywood that has existed for the past 5 to 7 years on the streaming business is really coming to not an end, but the content bubble is coming to an end.
A lot of times, and I've seen it happen in the past, obviously been around for a long time, when GE came in and looked at how movies were made and how content was being developed. It's sort of a culture clash between, I guess, the Hollywood sort of artists, those people, and people that actually have to make paychecks and pay taxes. And, at the end of the year with an income statement and a balance sheet. Is there a balance that can be made? Who does it best, do you think, at this point?
That's a good question. Sony is a great example. When they came to Hollywood and bought into the Columbia Pictures Studio, they hired guys that were experienced producers in the 80s and 90s to run Sony Pictures, and they sort of got taken for a ride. They didn't know the culture. They didn't know the spending. Now, if you look at the Sony studio, they're doing pretty well. They're not trying to have their own streaming service. They're just trying to be one of those so-called arms dealers that is selling content to those streamers. It's the companies that have tried to compete with Netflix and have spent billions of dollars to try to gain market share in the streaming business. That is what is coming under scrutiny right now. You look at Warner Brothers Discovery, you look at Disney, you look at Paramount, you look at NBC Universal with Peacock. These companies that are going after the Netflix business of building up a streaming service to compete with Netflix, the market leader, those are the companies that are really struggling right now because they haven't figured out how to make that model work.
Matt, do you think you can be a CEO of a company, some of the ones you're talking about, do what's necessary for the bottom line and still be beloved by the people that are making your movie? And I was talking about David Zaslav. When he canceled, I forget which movie he canceled, and people went crazy. And it was a movie that was going to totally
Batwoman or something.
Batgirl.
Yeah, it was going to totally bomb. CNN Plus was costing so much money, it was never going to have a return. But when you make those decisions, those business decisions, by definition, you're going to be in the crosshairs for all the people that are affected by it. And I think that's what's happened.
Yeah, certainly it's a tug of war between the creative instincts that people have and the financial realities of this company. Warner Discovery has when he took over, he had more than $50 billion worth of debt. And he came in and he was upfront. He said, we're cutting $4 billion in costs. That's going to mean jobs. It's going to mean projects. But I think it's the way that these CEOs go about doing it. David Zaslav in particular has had some blunders in the way he's executing.
Making a lot of money. And I guess that was a tone-deaf party over in Cannes with Graydon Carter, et cetera, et cetera. During the writer's strike, a lot of money. I guess I understand that. But
the Turner Classic Movies situation, they had that channel, Turner Classic Movies, and they just cut 2/3 of the staff. And they didn't do it in a way where they knew there would be blowback, but I don't think they anticipated the level of blowback with Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese coming out against the decision. All of a sudden they had to save, and they said, oh, we're going to bring back an executive, and we're going to have these directors be a consultant, and we're going to give oversight to the Warner Brothers film studio. And it just felt like they were on defensive, and it was a self-inflicted wound.
You know, it's never going away. The suits versus the artists, that's never going away. And there's always going to be that tension. I just want to make sure we have more content. Matt, I don't want to mess that up either. But it's not the Red Cross. That's not a not-for-profit organization. You need to be profitable. So that's just the the
and we've had
reality.
an unprecedented run-up in the level of content over the past decade, to the point where 600 television shows, that is going to come down necessarily.
Well, you can keep 500 of them, so that'll be okay. We just don't know beforehand which ones, Matt.
That's
thanks.
the problem.
That's a problem. Matt Belloni, thank you.